Is the angle bad? You're worst photographer ever. Okay, so we went to Target today, and guess what book I got? I got Fourth Wing. I saw Chrissy's Purple Library had read this and like did a review on it, and her opinion was like the first negative opinion that I've ever seen, and I trust her opinion more than I trust the other opinions that I've seen. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. There's dragons, so that's fun. Yeah, I feel like I already know the plot because I've already watched a bajillion videos about this book. But I'm still excited to read it for myself, and I want to have my own organic thoughts. Today's September 16th, and I'm going to start reading this. So, yay. I hate this man in this book. He's literally the worst. Like, what does anyone see in him? She's over here like all starstruck. Get a better taste in men. Like, your current taste is trash. I don't know. How does anyone like him? To be honest, I don't like him at all. I'm like 30 pages away from being finished with Fourth Wing. This is gonna be like the worst camera quality ever, but you know what? I'm thankful for that because I'm about to go to bed, so I look a little rough. So far, okay, yes, the characters have grown on me. I kind of freaking like Zayden now. Sue me.
2,000 years later.
So this is my final thoughts on the book that was absolutely hyped and crazed over the summer, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. If you've not heard of this book, honestly, congratulations. I envy you. Not that this book was so tragic and terrible that it ruined my life or anything, but it also didn't add anything to it. So take that as you will. So in case you're unfamiliar with this book and the world within it, I am going to read this from the inside. 23-year-old Violet Sorngale was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, also known as her toughest Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would just kill her for being her mother's daughter, like Zayden Ryerson. I don't know how to say his last name, and to be frank, I don't really care. the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Rider's Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, and the kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers, everyone at the War College has an agenda, because once you enter, there are only 2 ways to get out. You graduate or you die. So overall, it was a good book. I rated it 4 stars. It was not life-changing or anything like that. It was decent, except for some of the scenes. I will say it does have a lot of foul language in it, but honestly I can get past that just because it is a war college. It's a military school, and so I feel like the language kind of comes with the territory a little bit. So I didn't really have as much of a problem with that as some might. Just know it is in there, and it's very heavy, and they use some of the heavier words too. What I did have a problem with was some of the bedroom scenes. I definitely skipped about 7 to 10 pages at a time during those scenes. That's how long they lasted. I was like, this is a bit much. This is a bit much. Yeah. For those scenes specifically, I do not feel comfortable recommending this book to anyone under the age of 18. I was in the car, headed to Thanksgiving dinner with my boyfriend's family when I came to those scenes. And oh my gosh, I pray they were not looking over my shoulder, thinking that I was actually reading that, because I was kind of skimming the pages. I was like, oh. Just know that's in there too. After I actually finished the book, I found this clean reading guide on Instagram, and I would say that this is pretty accurate. You could follow this and skip over some of the heavier scenes that you really don't need to know about. They don't really add to this story much. Those things aside, let's get to the characters. So the character of Violet, I was okay with. I found it very, very annoying that she was described so often by herself and others as weak and brittle and breakable, and all these negative adjectives that meant she was lesser than because of her size and strength abilities. I did like how she had a mindset of overcoming despite those differences about herself. The thing with her being described as weak and brittle every other sentence was a bit much. I didn't need to know that. You said it the page over. I didn't need it reiterated, okay? The male character, Zayden, man's got some issues. I said halfway through that I did not know what people saw in him and that I did not like him at all. I have to admit he did kind of grow on me. He was one of the only characters that was encouraging her to get stronger, and instead of coddling her, he kind of urged her to toughen up a little bit. I appreciated that about him. He had a tragic backstory, as they always do. Overall, he did grow on me. By the end, I was kind of won over by him. I do kind of like the 2 of them together. We just could have done without some of the scenes. If they had to do it, we didn't have to see it, okay? We didn't have to know about it, really, okay? And honestly, I'm gonna be honest, Dane wasn't as bad as people are making him out to be, other than the fact at the end, he did kind of send all of them off knowing that there was an ambush situation and they were probably all gonna die. But other than that, up until that point, I really did not see where Dane was such a terrible character. It was obvious that the author wanted us to dislike him, and I was like, why though? The political drama, I wish it was more fleshed out. I guess you're kind of seeing all of it from the perspective of someone who's on the inside. Someone in the military wouldn't necessarily know everything that's going on in the government, which I understand that because you're kind of seeing it from the insider's perspective. You're not seeing it from the government leader's perspective. But I wish there was more of I wish it was more fleshed out. I don't really know what's going on. I know there's a king, and I know that there's an army, right? I know that there's an opposing kingdom, and they have griffins instead of dragons. But I don't really know much else besides that. We really just got all the drama that happened within her first year of War College. And apparently the second book is going over her second year of War College. So I guess we're gonna get a book for every year of her War College that she goes through. I wanna see the actual political drama that happens eventually, if it does. So overall, would I recommend? If you want, honestly, as long as you're over 18, because like I said, I do not feel comfortable recommending this to anybody under the age of 18, because what the heck, what the actual flip, honestly. And then make sure you follow the clean reading guide. because you don't have to know all that. The dragons were fun. I really liked Endarna. She was my favorite. That is my final thoughts, reading, wrap up, review, whatever, of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Will I be reading Iron Flame? I own it, but I probably will not be reading it anytime soon because, like I said, not my favorite. So anyway, thank y'all for spending some time with me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever other time of day it is for you, and I will see you next time. Bye.